Good morning. So today I am at St. Andrews State Park. Really beautiful here. Really beautiful. So I'll give you guys so you can take a look. I have decided to learn how to surf. Good morning, Prita. Hey, if anybody knows how to surf, I would like lessons. Good morning, Kathy. Can you guys hear me okay? I have my earbuds, so I think they work. Yeah, you were first. First one to enter the Facebook Live this morning. Thank you. Hi, Summer. Good morning. So I'm buying. It opens at 9 a.m. But I'm gonna buy the pass so that I can come here. The family pass. Good morning, Vicky. Because St. Andrews is an amazing state park. The beach here is perfect. Beautiful white sand beaches, and you guys can see the ocean is super stormy. There goes the surfer, because it's surf waters today. That's for sure. Good morning, Diane. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so I have a lot of walking to do because I get my 15,000 steps in daily. 15,000 steps plus the daily exercise, daily movement, and proper nutrition, and approximately 7.75 hours of sleep. So I'm on a roll. I've been doing really well with all of that. The surfer catching a wave. Awesome. We can feature that in the book as well. Delilah! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Delilah! Hi! Thanks for joining me. So, just going to jump straight into the topic, and this is a topic that was from yesterday's Facebook Live. So yesterday I did a Facebook Live, and there was a question that was mentioned, but that question would have taken me away from the topic at hand. So I'm going back to that question today. So the question was, well, it wasn't really a question, it was more of a statement, but the statement essentially was other people were causing their psychological suffering or causing their emotional distress. So I'm just going to talk about that a little bit today. It is beautiful here. I'm so glad to live here too. Panama City Beach is beautiful. And the ocean especially. But it is surfer day today, so there's a lot of surfers out there. But I'm going to walk the 2 miles and then the 2 miles back to get in a good portion of my steps today. We have a webinar at 2 p.m., so I'm getting ready for that as well. Hi, Lauren. Far cry from England, I know. Temperature and everything. So I won't rub that in. How nice the ocean is today. I'm sure it's nice there in London as well. I heard you guys got some more snow. So untimely snow north of London. I could just be making that shit up. I don't know. I heard that it snowed though. Cool. So I'm just going to go into the topic, and I think that my Facebook Live will be just a little bit shorter today. I say that, and then it goes 2 hours based on questions and things like that. But what was mentioned yesterday, the person, and I don't remember exactly who, but there was a comment saying that they've come to the conclusion that other people are the source of their emotional distress and their psychological suffering. Delilah says, oh, may we tend to cause our own emotional stress sometimes, not sometimes, all the time. And that's what I'm going to get to. So first of all, what is emotion? Emotion is an electrochemical, physiological, and here's the big word, response to stimuli. So the word response and the word stimuli, we can circle those and underline those because that's what I'm going to point out. So electrochemical, physiological response. All emotion falls under this category. No matter how you slice it, no matter which way you look at it, emotions are an electrochemical, the electricity or the energy that is circulating through the body follows chemical pathways. So it's a combination of the electric and the chemical combination together. That's how the electricity or the energy travels in the body. Traditional Chinese medicine sometimes would use the meridian system, or they all the time use the meridian system, but in another way, all of the nerves and everything happening in the body is physiological and electrochemical in nature. Okay? So, but that's some scientific stuff that's not necessarily my forte even. But what I'm talking about now is response to stimuli. Okay, so if I'm at the beach and I see somebody in the ocean and they get hurt, or I see a dolphin, come up onto the beach. Penny, you didn't miss anything. I was just about to get into it. So, the response to stimuli. If I see something happen right here on the beach, like a dolphin or something comes up on shore and I got to throw him back in the ocean, I'm going to have an emotional response to that stimuli because I love dolphins and I love creatures and critters of all sorts. So I'm going to have an emotional response to that stimuli. Normally I use my dog, but I miss my dog, so I don't want to use him as an example. But if something happened to somebody, I am going to have a response to that stimuli. So you've probably heard of fight or flight. That is also a physiological response to stimuli. Say I go swimming and there's a shark. I'm going to have a physiological response. Now, what we're talking about with emotion, if I see something that invokes an emotion, what has happened is my body is responding physiologically to that stimuli. Right? So if I see a dolphin beached or something like that, first of all, I'm going to turn the Facebook Live off and go try to save it. But it will cause an emotional response because I'm a loving human being, and that will cause a response in me, and that's okay. So if somebody close to me passes away, or if somebody that I love is hurt or something like that, I will have a response to that, and it will be electrochemical physiological response in nature, and that's okay. So when my family left Florida to go back to Champaign because my son's graduating and he turns 18, by the way, in just a few days, that response, I was a little bit sad. I was a little bit sad because the energy that we were entangled is now disconnected. So I no longer have the physical interaction that I once had. So that is the electrochemical physiological response to stimuli that we call emotion. It's a very simple thing, and we don't really have to make it too complex. But here's the kicker. The mind and the way that we think also causes an electrochemical physiological response. So let's use the shark example. Let's say I'm swimming out in the ocean and I see a shark, right? And it scares the shit out of me because I'm not I'm not Buddha. So I am not going to sit here and lie and say, "Oh, shark, no problem." No, I'm probably going to be scared shitless if I see a shark and I'm in the ocean. I have no experience with that. That will cause an electrochemical physiological response, fight or flight, and then later, let's say I think about it. And then the next day I think about it. And then the next day I think about it. And then the next day I think about it. And then the next day I think about it. The brain doesn't know the difference. The stimuli now is the thinking. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Teresa. Thanks for joining me. So I'm explaining emotion, electrochemical physiological response. But the response isn't always to the immediate stimuli. In fact, most of the time it's not. Most of the time the body is physiologically responding in terms of hormones, in terms of all sorts of things happening in the brain from the thinking, because the brain doesn't know the difference. So the brain itself doesn't distinguish the difference between an immediate stimuli in front of us and thinking. Neuroplasticity is changing the neural pathways. So what I'm describing is essentially the thinking mind is creating the emotional physiological response, which is what leads to long-term psychological suffering. So if I continue to think about that, my mind continues to send all of the hormones through my body, and I perpetuate that emotion. Because the mind doesn't know the difference. The mind doesn't know that the shark's not actually there because I'm thinking about it. And this is how the mind creates the cycle and the pattern of long-term debilitating psychological suffering. Hi, Jolia. Good morning. Very simple, right? The language of the universe is simplicity. It's only the brain and gurus and some of these people who want to complicate things. It's not that complicated. It's actually really quite simple. So here's the thing. That response in your brain, you have direct volition and choice over. So what I'm trying to say, or what I'm actually saying, is that nobody is ever doing anything to you outside of physical touch. Somebody puts their hand on me, that's a different story. Sophia, good morning. So outside of that immediate response to stimuli, anything after that, that's your responsibility. That is the garden of your mind. Did you get angry? That's your fault. Did you get sad or upset at somebody? That's your fault. That is you. All you, 100%. Nobody can do anything to me. Let's say Sophia, I'm just going to pick on you because you said hello last. She says, Ernest, you're a big idiot. Everything you say is stupid. Emotion is not an electrochemical physiological response. There's no evidence of that, even though there is. Why would I take offense to that? That would be my reaction. That's the garden of my mind, how I respond to things. Nobody is doing anything to us outside of physical touch. We have to take, well, you don't have to. It's your choice. Everything is your choice, and I'm not prescribing behavior. I took responsibility for the garden of my mind. Hi, Glennies. Good morning. Penny, you're going to be fine. You are going to be fine. Let's just relax the mind and go in there with the mood of a warrior. You know you can do it. You can do it. So all of the long-term psychological suffering, anything outside, hi Sandy, anything outside of the, so there is no shark until it bites you. Bingo. Brilliant, Stephen. That's exactly right. Oh, I'm already at low power mode, so I better wrap this up pretty soon. Sorry, I can't do a longer one. I forgot the little wire that connects to the battery. I have a backup battery, but without the wire, it don't work. Yes, Sophia, that is correct. Or that's how I see it. So the bottom line is that nobody is ever doing anything to us outside of the immediate response. So let's say in Steve Coffin gave an example of until the shark bites you, there is no shark. However, we can still exercise caution. If there's a flag saying that there's dangerous marine life, it's still wise to exercise caution, but not worry. Let's say you're going to go skydiving. And this was an example given by Will Smith. I think it was Will Smith. Yeah, it's pretty popular, and it's on Facebook. But he was describing all of the thought, all of the worry, all of the electrochemical physiological response that was happening as a result of his thinking was completely unnecessary. Until he got up to the doors and the doors opened for him to jump out, that was the only real time to feel anything. Because anything leading up to that is just, you're making it up. Like it has no tangible aspect to it because there is no immediate response to stimuli. Big difference between knowledge versus experience. I call it knowledge versus direct knowledge, or information versus direct knowledge, but that's a different Facebook Live. So the bottom line, let's say you're going to work, you're in a work situation, and it's like, oh, these people at work are just pissing me off. No, you are allowing it to happen. That is not, nobody is doing that to you. It's just words. It's just something floating through the air. It's atmospheric displacement that we call sound. There's really nothing else to it. It's very simple. So I have complete volition and choice over my mind. How do I do it? I observe the thoughts, because it is the thought that drives the behavior. It is the thought, the thinking, in terms of internal dialogue or even visualization in this example, that causes the electrochemical physiological response to stimuli that we call emotion. Lane, good morning. My battery's going to die soon, so I have to wrap it up. It can't be very, very long. I am scared of heights, and it's in my mind for sure. I did go up the Eiffel Tower. Oh, this is good. Exercise caution away from the edge. Yeah. And so any fear of heights is a repetitive pattern of the mind. That fear has no tangible aspect to it. It has no reality to it outside of the reality that we give it. And anybody who has overcome a fear of heights, they make that realization. They're like, oh, I don't really have that. I don't really have to do that. But empaths are ultra sensitive, and that doesn't matter, Patricia. You are the gardener of your mind. You can completely have volition and choice over whatever you're taking in. Empaths is just another form of identification. And I don't identify to anything, although at one point I would have said that I'm empathic. But that, again, is just another excuse. It's an excuse for not taking complete responsibility for my energy, for my mind, and for the way, as Vanda says, the way that I react. My reaction is an indication of my evolution of consciousness, or not, as the case may be. Hi, Michael. I don't have any gold shield with me, so I can't do I can't do an advertisement bit. Actually, I just did, sort of. So we can absolutely choose how we respond over time. You can feel everything from others, and that's your allowing that, 100%. Now, if you want to talk later on some of the best ways to not use force and still take complete responsibility over your own energy, over your own mind, and over your own everything, I would be happy to have that conversation. So Diana says the habitual feeling patterns as well that arise as well. Pivoting is the key. Yeah, so there's a big difference between feeling and emotion. I felt that. I feel peace. That does not require thought. Peace is not a response. There is no response to stimuli with peace and true love. The feeling of love, that does not require stimuli. Emotion does. Emotion is a response theory. It comes from the response of either your thinking or imagery or something immediately in your experience, right? But peace, love, joy, those things have absolutely nothing to do with emotion. Emotion and feeling is different. You can feel emotion, but you can also feel peace. You can feel spirit. You can feel God. You can feel a punch to the face. You can feel stepping on a nail. What about stress hormones? The release of the stress hormone is the electrochemical physiological response is the release of stress hormones. Where do those stress hormones release? It's not accidental. It requires a stimuli, and the stimuli is your thinking. The words going through your mind, the images going through your mind is creating the stimuli necessary to recreate that in your body. So there's no just, oh shit, there goes my stress hormones again. Huh. Go figure. No, that's not how it works. That's not how the body functions and operates. Now, it can get into cycles. So my anxiety, the stimuli for my anxiety in 2010 or so was waking up. I would wake up and my mind would start moving. And then the stress hormones and all of the different things that cause the anxiety, the physiological response would go. Momentum, that is true. That's a great word to use. Momentum is a principle of accumulation. It's the accumulation principle. You accumulate skill by practicing. You accumulate sand by grain, it accumulates. The accumulation principle, I can't trademark, I can't make that up. Momentum, I can't trademark that, I can't make that up. It's just the way the universe works. And I have elegantly learned to go with it rather than against it. It's really that simple. The universe's language is simplicity. It's the thinking mind, words, dialogue, concepts that all make it complex. We're karate kicking ourselves in the face, essentially. How about what they call tantrums of women? It's all electrochemical physiological response. Now, some of that response can be due to hormones in the body, different things that are happening in the body and different imbalances, but all of that can be quelled by the mind, because the mind is extremely powerful. The mind can cure cancer. The mind can create all of this. So the mind has impeccable power when used and understood properly. So there is nobody ever doing anything to you. When you say, oh, this person pissed me off, not true. Stop lying to yourself. Stop telling yourself stories and blaming shit on other people, because that's not the case. If you allowed somebody to piss you off, that's because you allowed the words to go. When someone hurts you, tell me how to respond. Are you talking about a physical hurt? If somebody puts their physical hands on you and wants to hurt you, call the police. Anything after that is your choice. It's always your choice. And here is how we learn to choose. Here I am, in this moment, in this body, in this mind. That's called presence, becoming present. Where is my mind now? That's called mindfulness. We observe the thinking mind. to see where the energy is going, to see where our emotional scale is going, to see where everything is going. It's the words. It's the words that people are thinking. It's the words that I was thinking. There was no balance. That's another principle of the universe. Balance is power. If you are thinking in words and dialogue more than 50% of the day, there is no balance. And there are people who have been thinking 90% of their waking experience for years and years and years. Grace, so what you have experienced is called momentum. Your anxiety has built. It has built, it has built, it has built because of the neural pathways in your brain. The brain loves cycles. It doesn't want to relearn everything. The brain is a survival mechanism. If you identify with your brain, you identify with the survival mechanism. If you identify with the words going through your head, you identify with ego. You identify with words in your brain as who you are. And that's just one aspect. That's just one aspect of the human experience, is the thinking mind. Words create concept. Concept creates the structure. So when you have anxiety and you wake up in the middle of the night, I recommend breathing techniques. I recommend all of the different things that I offer and that other people offer to relax. And anxiety was my thing. I had severe debilitating anxiety. And I woke up one day and I just said, fuck this. This is not how I'm going to live my life. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to feel good. I deserve to have energy. I deserve to love and be loved, just like all of you do too. It's not an innate human experience, and it doesn't have to be. So you need to, if you don't mind, Vanda, can you please explain hurting? Because if you're talking about anything outside of somebody trying to choke me, that is still your responsibility. Nobody can hurt me. I would allow that to happen if it happened, because I am the master of my mind. And this is the limiting belief that I talked about yesterday, is people are still out there telling us that we can't master our own thinking processes, that we can't observe the internal dialogue, that we can't observe the direction and energy of our minds, that we're not able to do that, that's not something we can do. That's something that only monks can do in the mountains, or somebody who has broken their body through physical gong fu or something like that. I'm going to upset that setup because that shit's not true. I wonder how to manage when my family is in a problem. The only thing that you ever manage is your mind. Everything will flow from that. Everything flows from the garden of your mind, because your mind is creating the external reality. Everything is being assembled in your brain. You have 3 color cones. That's all we see. That doesn't mean that's all that's there. All of this is being created in our brain. The universe is infinitely dimensional, but our brain can only perceive depth, width, and length. And it's binary. The synaptic connections are either firing or it's not. Yin and yang is a machination of the mind. We created that. The mind is creating yin yang. There is no absolute value to yin yang whatsoever. Nobody is doing anything to you outside of physical touch. That sounds about right, Grace. That's what I did too. And how did I do it? All throughout the day, I embodied the techniques. The techniques do not work by the techniques alone, but the gong fu behind it. The practice and the accumulation of skill behind it. All throughout the day. Here I am. Presence. Where is my mind now? That creates the watcher, which separates you from identification to the thinking mind, which, as Buddha pointed out, is the source of all suffering. Identification and attachment to the construct of the thinking mind is the source of all psychological and physical suffering. True. Thank you, Buddha, for pointing that out to us. Now we just need to work with that information and have it an effect in our lives. So that's 2 things that I've described so far. One called checking in. That's called becoming present. Just becoming presently aware of the moment as it happens. Whoops. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is creating the separation so you can observe yourself in real time. Where is my mind now? I still say that. I still say that out loud, because every time I do, it creates the watcher that is observing the thought. And you know, the more I did this, the more I observed my mind, the more I realized, shit, There's the anxiety. There's the source of the anxiety. I am creating it with the thoughts. The thoughts are creating the electrochemical physiological response that we call anxiety, that we call depression. And over time, decades for most people. We're not talking a month. We're talking 20, 30, 40, 50 years of accumulated psychological suffering. It gains momentum. That's all it is. It's energetic principles at hand. It's not complicated. It's not abstract. Sometimes right after the thought of, I hate this girl, I immediately overthink again. You're causing that suffering. Those thoughts will not serve you. And so here's what we do. Here is transcendental embodiment technique at hand. So we have presence. Here I am, becoming present. Mindfulness. Where is my mind now? And can I observe the direction of my thoughts? And here's the difference. Change it if you don't like it. Change it if it's not serving you. I'm getting dark for some reason. There we go. So you have the ocean behind me. So how do you behave towards the person? If you're not having the response theory, your behavior will be more loving. Your behavior will be more compassionate. Your behavior will flow from something that is completely different than what you've been perpetuating in your thinking mind. The mental health community won't go with these simple ideas because there will be no such thing as mental health community. The way that I do things will put all psychotherapists out of business because it won't be necessary. It puts the power back in your hands. You don't have to go back into the past trauma to understand that you're simply recreating it in the present. That's not necessary. You know, the conversation that I had with a therapist, a psychotherapist, she said, Ernest, 20 years later, I'm still seeing first-year clients. They've paid off a Mercedes for me by now. They still they still think that they need the psychotherapy because it's not working. It's not getting to the root of the problem. The root of the problem is your mind, the garden of your thinking. And just replace the word your with my. That's fine too, because I'm not exempt from any of that. So Patricia, I can get into more detail, and if you'd like, I have a webinar today. So my webinar will get into a lot of these details. I do webinars every other week or so, and master classes every other week, and we have free classes too. Monday is a free class, Saturday is a free class, and then there'll be more free classes added. And love is not abstract, that's a feeling. You feel love or you do not. It's not abstract ideological bullshit. If there is no present feeling of deep appreciation, there is no love. You're making that shit up to make it feel good. It's just words. If you feel like love is an emotion, that's not love. You're creating an emotion. It's an electrophysiological response. That's not what we're talking about. Well, Patricia, that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm certifying teachers to teach this. Because I've had a high vision of this being taught all over the world so that people can just take the power back, the power of their mind back. We've been giving our power to other people for far too long, and it's time to take it back. Here's how you do it. Here's how we get out of abstract land and we start to apply technique. The technique is what crosses the divide between theory and application. There are people with millions of dollars, billions of dollars, financial success. They are not elegant gardeners of their mind. They have no volition and will over their stream of internal dialogue. They're knee-deep in shit just like everybody else. They just happen to have some focus to accumulate wealth, which is fine. That's a great thing. People have been trained to look for answers outside themselves, and I'm here to upset that setup. I'm not a guru. I'm not a spiritual master. I just remind people of what they already know. You came into this universe P-U, the uncarved block. We came into this world allowing, tabula rasa, absolutely perfect. And then we start to build the construct. Those around us start telling us how we should think, how we should live, and how we should do things. Rather than learning, rather than the parents learning from the children, we're under the false assumption that we have to teach them about the world. It's time to upset that setup. Every single person watching this has the power to overcome their psychological suffering. Here's my recommendation. Just try it. Give it a try today. Here I am. You can say it out loud if you want to. Name some shit around you. Name some stuff around you. Oh, there's clouds. There's trees, there's people. That's called presence. It's called becoming present. To become mindful, you can say, where is my mind now? That creates a separation between the internal stream of dialogue that most people are completely identified and attached to as who they are. That's called ego. Eckhart Tolle describes that in perfect detail. There's no reason for me to. Buddha describes that in perfect detail. Jesus describes that in perfect detail. There's no need for me to reinvent that wheel. It's getting sunny, so I can't see the phone. So maybe I should move it this way. It doesn't matter. The battery's going to die pretty soon anyway. Okay, so here's how you do it. Just give it a try today and just let me know if it works. It goes beyond mindfulness. This is not just mindfulness. It's called deliberate conscious creation. My trademark, the transcendental embodiment approach, using transcendental embodiment techniques, taking your spirituality with you all throughout the day, not just on Sunday, not just during your 20-minute or hour yoga practice. We take it off the mat. We take it out of the church. We bring it with us all throughout the day. Here's how you can do it. Give it a try. Here I am. All throughout the day. 1,000 times, 100 times, 10 times. Here I am. In this body. In this beautiful mind. Where is my mind now? Say that out loud. Say it to yourself. Where is my mind now? And if you don't like what you're observing, if you can determine that what you're viewing or what you're seeing in your mind is not serving you, change it. It's not serving you. You don't have to continue to think thoughts that don't serve you. You don't have to find the source in your past. Your past is an illusion. You're creating that in your mind. We don't have to dig deeper. We don't have to psychoanalyze. We don't have to go into the subconscious. All we need to do is shine the light of our awareness. Where you shine your awareness, it will grow. It's that simple. And I'm sorry, but the comments are getting a little bit, I can't see them as well because the sun's shining in my eyeballs. And I have to go pretty soon because my battery's going to die. Try it. This is a technique. The technique will not work by the technique alone. You have to do it. It requires a doing. Everything in this universe requires action, requires doing, requires movement. Even if it's wu-wei, even if it's actionless action, it is still action. It is still movement. Airplane with the Trojan sign. Gotta love it. So this is something you can try. It's not abstract ideological bullshit. Give it a whirl all throughout the day. Here I am. That's called presence. Where is my mind now? That's observing your mind in real time. Do you have any book from you? I will, Carlos. Actually, I'm about to publish my book in April. I can't tell you the name just yet, but I'm about to release all of that information. It'll be a short book, very inexpensive, and my goal is to get that into libraries for free. Because my number one motivation is Academy of Conscious Creation in inner cities, in places that it's not currently accessible. People need to know this. It's not being presented to them. The powers that be, whatever that is, doesn't want this information out. You won't be a good consumer if you are the gardener of your own mind. So the book is coming soon, very soon. So we go beyond mindfulness, which is observing the thinking mind. We observe the thinking mind, and I say it out loud. Where is my mind now, Ernest? It's very powerful to say out loud. Where is my mind now? That's called mindfulness. Now, go from mindfulness to deliberateness, to conscious creation. I don't like this stream of thought. I'm changing it. You can change it with a mantra. You can change it with a smooth breath. I call it the Rule of Three. It's on my website. I have a free course. If there's somebody that has the link, please post it. It's absolutely free. Chapter 1 and 2 of the Academy of Conscious Creation, of the first phase of change, is enough. It's enough to completely change somebody's life and give you the power. Not me, not anybody else. I'm just a reminder. I just tap people on the shoulder and say, hey, remember. So I do one-on-one sessions, $12.50. That's about 250% below any industry average, because I believe in accessibility. I want to help. It has to get out there. Before I retreat into the mountains and just enjoy my peace peacefully, I'm here to share. I'm here to make myself available, and I'm here to offer it to the world. Where is my mind now? And do these thoughts serve me? Do these thoughts serve me? Plus or minus. Does this make me feel good? Does this make me feel shitty? Does this make me happy? Does this make me sad? Is this benefiting the overall goals of my life, or is it not? If it's not, change it. You will gain momentum. You will learn over time that you are the one that's creating it all, because you are the master of your stream of thought if you choose to be. There are people who are 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, billions of dollars. They are not mastering their mind. They just have focus in a certain area. And that's cool. If you have focus, you can manifest with that. If you're focused on basketball, you can become an NBA player. If you're focused on money, you can become a billionaire. If you focus on becoming the gardener of your own mind, you will create your reality. It's very similar to Abraham Hicks. The only thing is I actually teach how to do it. I help people cross the divide between theory and application. And what I'm teaching is not religious. It can fit and adapt to absolutely anything that you do. It's a systemless system. It adapts to your unique personality. So here's the process. Presence, here I am. Mindfulness, where is my mind now? And then you become the deliberate, conscious creator when you change it. Okay, yeah, I'm freezing up, so it must be because of a combination of my battery and the internet. I have to make sure that I have a good look on my face when it freezes. The other day it froze and I was like that. Okay, so I'm gonna get out of here and finish my fox walking. I really love you guys. I appreciate this opportunity to share. For anybody who listened to this for the first time, give those techniques a try. I have a million more called tricks of attention. Deliberately placing your attention with choice, volition of will, not habit. In the beginning, it is a constant effort, yes. And the reason in the beginning it's a constant effort is because you have most people have accumulated the momentum of complete unconscious cycles. The mind is just moving in an unconscious cycle, which is the reason that people tend to react similarly in similar situations, without awareness, without volition, without consciousness. Well, we're here to upset that setup. Okay, so I'll very likely be doing Facebook Lives all the time, every day, unless I take a day off. I hope to see anybody and everybody in today's webinar. Today's webinar, we're talking about freedom and creating the tradition of enlightenment, love, and peace, because that is what will change everything. We can stop identifying to the stream of thinking as who we are, and instead make love to the mind, make love to this life experience, create. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to see you guys at the webinar. And yes, the voice I think went out for a little bit. I paused there. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Thank you for joining me. Bye.